a holy land that God created at the beginning of creation that is unique from all other lands. Why? Because God set that into play in the beginning of creation. Now, because of a historical connection to the land, do we have a right to the land? And this is part of the problem politically that the Jewish people are having. We're not telling the real story to the nations of the world. The politicians are not, and Jews are not. They're not telling the real story. What are we saying? We lived there. Our ancestors lived there. Our prophets roamed on the land. It's true. But that makes us just like any other land. And it could be conquered. And therefore, what do you mean? So the Arabs could conquer us. They're trying. God willing, they'll never be successful because God will not allow them to be successful. But what we're playing into is that our land is like any other land. And therefore, yeah, we conquered it 71 years ago now. Okay, so it could be conquered back just like any other land. What, your prophets walked on the land? Ottoman Empire controlled the land for 400 years. What are we coming and taking it away? We have a right? Just because King David walked there and he had a temple and Solomon had a temple, that gives us a right? Why is it a right? It's only a right if you go back to the beginning of the story. It's a God-given right. Not a historical right, but a God-given right. Now, unfortunately, we live in a world today that the G word is like, hard to get it out of your mouth. God. Right? That's why we put a dash over there, and the G dash D. Because, it's hard to say it. It's hard to make a claim based on that. But folks, if that's not the claim, then we really don't have a proper claim to the land. Now, after we make that claim, then we could say, as a result, there's history that ensued. Part of that history is that first God gave it to other nations. And why then? We can ask the question, if there is an inherent connection that we have to the land, how could it be that God gave it to others? The Ottoman Empire for 400 years. The Canaanites for hundreds of years. It's our land. Even though we've always been in the land, there's always been a minyan on weekday minyan and a Shabbos minyan has always been on the land of Israel. That being said, we didn't control it. We were primarily outside of the land. So, the Rebbe gives a beautiful metaphor. And ultimately, we need to be a partner with God in creating the holiness. And holiness is inherent, but we have to conquer. There's a part in us. Furthermore, there is like finding the pearl in the dirt, in the ground. You have to dig to find the pearls that are found in the dirt of the earth. God creates a world where there's a lot of dirt. Our job is to find the pearls in everything. That's why our mitzvahs are done in the physical. Why are they done in the physical? It's because the whole point is to sanctify the physical, to find the pearl, the gem that is in the physical nature of God's world. And in that way we partner with Him. If it would be that we would only have it by divine decree and no one else could have it, we wouldn't be able to partner and to ourselves to be engaged into bringing out the pearl, the gem of that's found in the dusty, dirty earth. And look at Israel today. A desert that for 400 years the Ottoman Empire couldn't do anything with it. You read stories about Jews who were, back in the day, living in the Holy Land, and the difficulties. They were so poor that the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, would collect money to send to the people in Israel. People in Russia were not wealthy. They didn't have, but at least they could grow something in the earth. Israel was so a rocky terrain, you could not even grow anything. And people were literally destitute in the land. You know why? Because God wants to give it to the other nations, but that it should remain a dusty, rocky terrain. Only when the Jew will have it will the pearl come out. As we see literally today in the land of Israel, as we see whenever the Jews had control of the land, that we prospered, developed it, and it was a beautiful, beautiful land.